Both of these figures represent Saiyan royalty. This one is from the 90s, and this one is from modern day. But which one is the true prince of all Saiyans? We're gonna unbox them and find out. Starting with this Irwin Toys The Saga Continues Vegeta, which is a re-release of the same figure from Japan's early 90s Super Battle Collection line. I had this Vegeta as a kid, but it's long gone, so I ordered up a sealed copy on eBay, complete with the As Seen on Cartoon Network Toonami stamp right on the box. Okay, here we go. So cool to be opening something from my childhood, sealed in the packaging. Let's see. Okay. Got the Saiyan armor out. And then there's Vegeta. Ooh, for some reason he's sticky. Which is not what I was expecting. And this is really how I remember this figure, because when I opened this as a kid, I almost immediately lost the Saiyan armor pieces because I was a kid who was really bad about keeping his accessories with his figure. But let's snap these on so we can get the full effect. And you'll notice that the white parts of his armor have experienced some aging, which is why there are yellowish tints to them now. There are good and bad things about this figure. Let's start with the good. Aging aside, the armor on this is actually really well done. This looks just like the Saiyan armor that Vegeta wears in the early stages of the Namek Saga when he has the Saiyan armor pauldrons. The second is the size. This line didn't do the best job with scaling of its figures overall, but they did make Vegeta substantially smaller than this version of Goku, so that's a definite plus. And that's about it for the good. Here's the bad. The articulation on this is atrocious. You can only move his shoulders vertically in a single plane this way, and with the armor on, it really hinders how high up he can come. If the armor's off, it can go all the way around. He also has some boot swivel, so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he actually has wrist rotation, which I didn't realize, which is kind of cool. So that would be 6 points of articulation on this guy. The face on this really isn't good, although I think it might be slightly better than the Goku face. Also, what's up with the pointy elf ears on this? Bizarre! Things don't always age well, and it's obvious that this Vegeta can't truly compete with modern action figures, but I am really glad to have this in my collection because these figures were such a huge part of my childhood. It's been fun to start trying to recollect these as a subset of my Dragon Ball Z figure collection. If you had this Vegeta as a kid, leave me a comment and let me know some of the memories that you have from this. Okay, out with the old and in with the new. This is an SH Figuarts 24,000 Power Level Vegeta that was a premium Bandai exclusive. If you don't know, that means that Bandai made fewer of these and they costed more at retail than the regular wide release figures in the line. The 24,000 Power Level in the name indicates the period of time that this Vegeta is from, which is of course when he does this to everyone's scouters and then obliterates the infamous Qui. Let's find out if this Vegeta is truly as powerful as he appeared in that clip. Alright, let's unbox this thing. Okay. So he doesn't come with a whole lot. That's kind of my first thoughts as I'm opening this. But man, does he look good. Wow. Wow, that is definitely the Namek Saga Vegeta depiction right there. We'll take these little plastic inserts off of this. And he's definitely shorter than a lot of the other Vegetas that I've seen in this line, which he should be because that's part of his character design. So that's kind of an important distinction on this. This looks like he jumped right off the manga pages or right out of the anime. He really looks good. Wow, this is really something. They really captured the likeness of the faces, and they really are starting to capture the art styles from the different eras of Dragon Ball Z, because the art changes as the show progresses, and the figures haven't really reflected that until really the most recent releases of the legendary Super Saiyan Goku, which I reviewed, and some of the other figures that have come out. But this looks the part for sure. This is Vegeta. Here he is on the table, and this isn't my favorite look for Vegeta, but it is a really iconic look for the character, and it really depicts the first part of the Namek Saga version of Vegeta, where he is just an absolute menace. Vegeta moves the plot of the Namek Saga along a lot more than I think people give him credit for. He starts out by terrorizing the planet looking for the Dragon Balls, then he takes out Qui, tricks Gohan, destroys Dodoria, kills Zarbon, and then he also helps Gohan and Krillin fight the Ginyu Force, and all of that happens before Goku ever even arrives on planet Namek. Okay, so this Vegeta comes with 4 different face sculpts, including the one that's on his body. He comes with these interchangeable folded arms, he has 2 arms, and then he has 4 sets of hands that come with him as well. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys two just starting out. Here's what the Vegeta looks like. I have the folded arms on him. We're going to go ahead and remove those, which are interesting. And one of the main differences on this Vegeta from previous Saiyan armor characters is that you've got this like folding kind of hinge mechanism that you just fold these pauldrons back like this, and then you can just pop these off. This is a single piece that you just kind of take off one part at a time. So there's the Vegeta, and here's the folded arms. It's just a single piece that snaps in with those 2 ball pegs there. And then you just simply use the arms, you push them back in. So one of the things about this figure, because of the pauldrons, you kind of want to make sure when you're posing this that you don't end up with weird gapping like that on the shoulder pauldrons. So you just kind of want to make sure that they get put back nicely after you've changed out the hands or the arms with the folded arms. So the next thing that I want to show you guys are the different face sculpts that this comes with, and I really love these. Like I've said before, you've got the Scouter on this, but if we want to take this off, it pops off and it pegs in right there. And then if I take the little ear accessory that comes with this, we can pop that back into where the Scouter was. There is a little bit of a seam line, but I'm okay with that. And then you've got your Vegeta without the Scouter right there, and he looks great. So if we want to swap out this face sculpt, so let's take a look at one of the other face sculpts. I love this one in particular. This is the yelling Vegeta face sculpt, and I'm just going to leave the ear off of these so you guys can kind of see and I don't have to pop them back in every time. So this is Vegeta powering up, this is Vegeta yelling, this is Vegeta shooting a blast at somebody, and I think it works really great because you've got that over-exaggerated jawline, you've got that over-exaggerated kind of yelling with the mouth that is happening here, and I think that really looks the way that it does for this version of Vegeta when he's on Namek. Next up, we've got this sort of teeth gritting face with Vegeta, which again looks great, and I think that this is something that you can use for so many different things. When Vegeta can't believe that something has happened, when Vegeta is worried about fighting an opponent, when Vegeta just doesn't like what's going on in general, this is going to be your go-to face. And finally, this is going to be the neutral face that comes on Vegeta stock in the box, and this is a great one as well. It's not that different than the smirking face, except there isn't a smirk here. It's just kind of that regular stoic sort of face for Vegeta. And something else that I didn't mention is I love what they're doing with the line work under his eyes, by the sides of his eyebrows, and also on his forehead here that kind of accentuate his eyebrows. I don't think I've seen that on another SH Figuarts figure, and I really think that they just knocked these faceplates out of the park. And I also want to mention the hair sculpt on this. This is a different hair sculpt than we've ever gotten on any other Vegeta figure, and it really does, again, look like how Vegeta's hair appears during the Namek Saga, which is very different, especially the way that this middle piece is coming up here if you reference the anime or the manga. And for me, what this displays is what we can get from SH Figuarts when they're at the best versus when they're just phoning in a figure or phoning in faceplates. This looks exactly the way it should from the show, and this leaves a lot to be desired. Okay, so I just want to do kind of a quick articulation setup on this guy, and I want to let you know too, if you're curious about the diorama and the backdrop, I do have a video of this Namek diorama that I created that is on my channel that I'll link to, that you guys can check out and see how I made this from start to finish. I also have backdrops that I sell, which is the Namek sky in the background, that you can get on my website or on my eBay, so check those out when you can. But as far as the articulation goes, this Vegeta is pretty standard, I would say, for an SH Figuarts 2.0 body, which is what this is. And I did mention to you guys before that the shoulder pauldrons are new, so that allows you to do some different things. And honestly, the jury's kind of out on this. I'm not 100% sure if this is better than what they used to do with the pauldrons, which was more of a traditional hinge up. This hinges back, but I do think so far as I'm using this, I don't mind this setup. Definitely isn't a worse setup than what we had before, just not sure how much better it actually is at this point. So you've got that. Vegeta can, you know, kind of rotate his arms. He can get the T-pose. He can go up a little bit higher than that. And the pauldrons do kind of follow him, which I do like. So that's good to see. He does have double jointed elbows, so you can definitely flex on somebody like he's doing here if you want to. He does have kind of a different setup on his chest than he has before. So it doesn't have a lot of mobility, so you can't really get a great ab crunch on him, which I guess is a disappointing thing, because I thought it would be a little bit better than this. But it kind of is what it is, and if you go up too high, you're going to see a little bit of gapping there, which again, not the best thing in the world, but I'm sure you can work your way around it with proper posing or angles if you're doing figure photography. Another thing too that I did notice is the neck. So he can look all the way up, and that's great for kind of flying sort of shots. And if you hide it, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But I mean, obviously you can very clearly see that gap in his neck, which isn't the best, but because of it, he does have some pretty good mobility. I love that he can kind of look down the middle of his chest here. That always makes the figure look a little bit more menacing, and so I do like that part of it. But the gapping definitely isn't ideal. I think he can get into probably most kind of poses that I might want to get him into. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of fun with this guy. I feel like I'm going to take a lot of photos with him, and I feel like he's gonna do most of what I want him to do. And honestly, he just looks so good that, you know, I'm willing to kind of concede a little bit in terms of some of those little issues that I personally saw as I went through this, because he really does do the Namek Saga just so much great justice, and I love that. What's cool is, if you're a huge Namek Saga fan like me, we're at the point in this line where you can pair this Vegeta with all of the previous Namek releases in the SH Figuarts line, like all 4 forms of Frieza, Gohan and Krillin in their Saiyan armor, Zarbon and Dodoria, the various versions of Goku from Namek, Captain Ginyu and Piccolo, and any future Namek-based releases. This is a good figure, but it does have some shortcomings. This was $80.25 after shipping and tax, ordering from P Bandai, which is par for the course when you order their exclusives. And if you didn't pre-order this, you're gonna pay even more on the aftermarket. The problem is, this Vegeta doesn't come with a lot. He doesn't come with any beam effects, he doesn't come with any swappable armor pieces, and he doesn't even come with an Namekian Dragon Ball, which is funny when you consider how obsessed he was with getting the Dragon Balls in this saga.
Now hand over that ball.
For the price, I think at least adding in a swappable damaged pauldron or two so we could nail the look from his fight with Zarbon would have been a good move, but they're probably saving that as a DLC piece for when they eventually release the official Monster Zarbon figure. Regardless of all that, I'm so happy to continue building my Namek Saga SH Figuarts collection by adding this Vegeta into the mix. It's also fun to see how far things have come in the action figure world between these 2 Vegeta releases, which have about 25 years between their release dates. If you enjoyed this figure comparison video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You'll also want to watch this, the next video in my Dragon Ball Z figure comparison series.
Vasco Toys. Action figure dioramas and props.